Hello everyone and welcome to ButteredGaming. I'm your host, ButteredToast III, and today I just wanted to show you another one of my magic decks here. You may have noticed something that's changed from the last ones. I have gotten some card sleeves for my cards, and I do have them for all of my decks now. I just wanted to show them. I just didn't want to take my cards out of the card sleeves to keep it the same, you know. But these card sleeves are pretty awesome anyway, because they have bacon on them, so best card sleeves. You know, that's how that goes. So I don't know. Best thing to start with, I always think, is the lands. This is a blue-red Monstrous deck, kind of. So does seem to be quite a few lands in here. There are 25 total lands in the deck, 15 islands, and 10 mountains. So nothing too spectacular there, but hey. Next, a lot of the point of this deck, I think, is to stall out your opponent. So we can look at our instance here real quick, and that starts our sorceries. So we do have a nice amount of instance, but to start off with, let's see if we can get this focused. Oh, that was even worse. Come on. There you go. Start out with, we have Griptide, which is a 4-mana drop to put target creature on top of its owner's library. Now that is pretty good. It has helped me out. I actually have 2 of them in the deck. It has helped me out quite a bit. Just when there's like a creature that I don't want on the field, it does stall them out for a turn. So it's more helpful than it seems. Next is a Lost in the Labyrinth. You pay 1 island to give target creature -3/-0 until end of turn, and then you get to scry 1. Now this is pretty helpful because it's pretty cheap and you get to scry. There is actually a lot of scry in this deck, and it's a lot more helpful than I thought it was going to be at first, which is nice, but this does work well for if your opponent is attacking you and you don't want them to hurt you. At least get rid of a little bit of the damage they're going to be dealing to you. Next we've got a Voyage's End, which is a 2-mana drop for returning target creature to its owner's hand and then scrying as well. So again, both good parts of the other cards, I guess. You get to return target creature to its owner's hand, which takes a creature off the battlefield and lets me attack if I have a creature, or it will just stall them out for a turn and waste a bunch of mana on their part if they want to bring it back, or they have some other thing they want to do. They won't have that creature on the field. And then you get to scry, which is actually a lot better than it seems, because I can, if I really need mana, I can look at the top card or 2, depending on the card I'm using, and it will allow me to either put it on the bottom of the deck if it's not mana, if I really need mana, or if I don't need mana at all, and it is mana, I can put it on the bottom of the deck, try to get myself something else I can use. So it is a lot more helpful than it seems. Next we have a Disperse, which is another 2-mana drop to return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So this works well with equipments and stuff, or enchantments as well. Just, you know, try to get rid of those a little bit, but it's only for a turn. It's a lot more helpful than it seems. The rest of these are kind of based on actually killing creatures. I mean, they don't do too much damage, but they are pretty helpful. Next, we've got 2 Lightning Strikes, which is a 2-mana drop to deal 3 damage to target creature or player, which is nice because I can either get rid of one of their creatures that they're using, or if I just really need to kill them, I can just target them. Same for the Shock, which is next. I have a couple of those as well. This is only a 1-mana drop though, but it only deals 2 damage to target creature or player. So very similar, but hey. Then we have a Magma Jet, which is a 2-mana drop for 2 damage to target creature or player, and then you also get to scry 2. So it doesn't do quite as much damage as the Lightning Strike, but I also get to scry 2, which is a little more helpful than the scry 1, and I've already given reasons why I think scry is actually a lot more helpful than it seems. Then we've got a Volcanic Geyser, which is X, and then 2 mountains mana drop, and you get to deal X damage to target creature or player, which is very nice because this deck A lot of the time with the scry, it does allow me to get quite a bit of mana, so that's pretty helpful. So next up, we can do our sorceries, and there's only a couple of those, 4 of them total. So first up, we've got our Portent of Betrayal, which is a 4 mana drop to gain control of target creature until end of turn, and then I get to untap it, and it gains haste, and then I also get to scry 1. So that's really nice because, again, stalling them out, I can take their creature and use it against them. So hopefully it'll either allow me to open up their field for me to just hit them directly, or it will allow me to take their creature, which is stronger than a creature they have, hopefully, and be able to destroy it. Well, I guess if they have more than one creature, you're going to take the strongest one every time, but still. And then you also get to scry 1, which is nice. Then we've got a Sea God's Revenge, which is a 6 mana drop, so it's a little expensive, but you get to return up to 3 target creatures your opponent controls to their owner's hands, which is really nice, because if they have 3 creatures that you don't want on the battlefield, you just get rid of them. And then you also get to scry 1, so if you're really low on mana, which you're really not going to be with the Sea God's Revenge 6, or if you have like a monstrous creature on the field and you do want mana, then you can just scry for that. Now, these are very helpful. I have a couple Curse of the Swines in here. They're more helpful than I thought they were going to be in the beginning too, because they are X and then 2 island mana drop, and then you get to exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller gets a 2/2 green boar creature token on the battlefield. So what's nice about this is if they have a very strong creature, or even a monstrous creature, and they monstrous it, which is very hard for me to get rid of, especially with those cards I had earlier, the ones that only deal 2 or 3 damage. So that's very hard to get rid of them. So this Curse of the Swine takes care of that, because it just straight out exiles them, and I can exile as many as I have mana for. And also a nice thing is, if they have an enchantment deck or something, it exiles the creature. It doesn't like transform it or whatever, so it will get rid of enchantments and stuff that's on these creatures, and then they get a 2/2 boar. So I mean, there's no point exiling stuff that's like 1/1 or 1/2 or anything, unless it has a really good ability that's kind of being a pain in the rear end, and then it could be helpful. So next up, we're just going to do the enchantment section, but there's only 1 enchantment. Ooh boy. Going hard. So we're going to look at this. This is Aqueous Form, which is a 1 mana drop to enchant a creature. And it's really nice because enchanted creature can't be blocked, and whenever it attacks, you get to scry 1. So that's really nice. I've put it on a card that you're going to see later, which is called Omenspeaker Adept, I believe is what it is. I'll show you later. I'll make sure to mention it. But what happens is, whenever you scry, Omenspeaker Adept gets +2/+0 until end of turn, or something like that. It's +2 + something, I believe. I believe it is +2/+0. So then whenever it attacks, it would scry, so then it would get the +2/+0. And because it's scrying whenever you attack, not whenever you deal combat damage, it's getting that increase before damage is calculated. So that's a pretty nice combo. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time because I only have 1 of each card, but even putting it on something like an Omenspeaker is just helpful. So now I'm going to look at some artifacts, and I do have one other artifact in this, but it is an artifact creature, so I just put it in the creature section. So we're going to look at Traveler's Amulet first, and it is a 1-drop to put it on the field, and then you have to pay 1 and sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it in your hand and shuffle your library. So again, trying to get more mana because monstrous creatures are very mana intensive. I mean, it doesn't seem like you have too much stuff that will allow you to get mana, but I mean, it somehow works out pretty well. Probably that scry. I mean, there's so much scry, and if you need mana, you can just be like, oh, here you go. So at any rate, we're going to move on to the Bident of Thassa. So it's a 4 mana drop to put it on the field, And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. Which, again, I got it because that will allow me to get more mana. So, like, if I scryed that turn, and I saw I had mana on the top, and then I attacked and I managed to deal damage to the opponent, I could immediately draw that card and then move on to the next card for the next turn, instead of having to wait to the next turn to get my land that I found. But then you can also pay 2 with an island in it to tap, and then creatures your opponent control attack this turn if able. I've never used that ability because in this deck it's not really something that I want them to be doing, is attacking me, but I mean, depending on the situation, it could help, because if I use that ability and they attack me and then they were all open for the next turn and they were almost dead, that could kill them. So that's how I envision that going. So we'll see. We'll have to see. So next is the creatures. And again, there's not, well, there's a pretty good amount of monstrous creatures in here, but there are a few non-monstrous. Like, as you can see here, we have a couple Omenspeakers, which is a 2-mana drop. The good thing about the Omenspeaker is that it's only a 1/3, but it's good for blocking, I guess. And the good thing about it is whenever it enters the battlefield, I get to scry 2. So, again, more scry, so that's nice. That's pretty much the only reason I keep them in here is early scry. Then I have the Archaeomancers, and they're a 1/2, so they're a 4-mana drop for a 1/2, and they're good again for blocking, but the real reason to have them is whenever they enter the battlefield, they get to return a target instant or sorcery from the graveyard to your hand. So if I had used, say, Lightning Strike or something, and I wanted to get rid of a creature that they have that's kind of weaker, that's less than 3 toughness, then I can go ahead and grab that back. Or if I wanted to scry again, whichever one of the, whatever's in the graveyard, you just have to look at it. So next we have a couple ill-tempered Cyclopses. So they're a 4-mana drop for a 3/3, but the good thing about them is they are trample and they are monstrous. But the problem with monstrosity as an ability, I believe, is that it's way too expensive. Because, I mean, you put it on the field for 6 mana, and then you have to wait, or for 4 mana, I apologize. You have to wait till you have 6 mana to get him monstrous, and the other creatures I have are even more expensive than that. So it's kind of painful to get the monstrous, but I mean, I guess it is only 2 more mana than what it costs to put on the field, and it is kind of an advantage, but still, I'd like it if it was a little cheaper than that. So those are nice. Then I have a Mnemonic Wall. I believe that's a little out of order, but hey. It's a 5-mana drop for 0/4 Defender, but the real reason I have it is whenever it enters the battlefield, I can take a target instant or sorcery from a graveyard to my hand. So it's basically another Archaeomancer, except it's a 0/4 Defender. So again, I'd use it for blocking and stuff, but it is 6 mana, so it's a little iffy maybe, but hey, we'll go with it. So then I've got a couple of these Sealock monsters, and they are again monstrous. But they are 5 to put on the battlefield, and they are 5/5, which is really nice for 5 mana, I guess. But the problem is it can't attack unless defending player controls an island. So I guess, ooh, my bad, I dropped one of them. Let's grab that. There we go. There we go. So they do take care of that problem when you monstrous it, but the problem is you do have to pay 7 mana to monstrous it for 3, so it does become an 8/8, and the good thing about that is whenever it's monstrous, you can target one of their lands, your opponent's lands, and make it become an island in addition to its other types. So you can attack then once you monstrous, so you have an 8/8 guy that's attacking for monstrous, so that's pretty good. But the problem is it's sitting there defending for you until you have enough to monstrous it, which is, again, it's only 2 more mana. But still, it's a little hard to get just 2 mana if you're just going through your deck normally. So Scry does help with that. Next we have a couple Stone Shock Giants, which are 5 mana drop for 5/4, which is pretty nice, I guess. Not as good as the Sealock, but it can attack before it's Monstrous, which is nice. So 8 mana Monstrosity, so this one's 3 mana more than its cost to put it on the field, but it is a Monstrosity 3, so it becomes an 8/7, which is pretty hard to take care of, I'd say, yeah. And then whenever it becomes monstrous creatures without flying, can't block. So the good thing about that is if you monstrous it and they're very close to being dead and they don't have any flying, then you're just going to waltz right through them and smack them in the face for 8 damage, which is really nice. And even if they do have flying, it's not too common as far as I've seen, so I mean, there are decks that will have only flying stuff, but hey, it's not too common again, so should be okay with that. Next we have a Horizon Scholar, which is a 6 mana drop for a 4/4 flying. But the real reason I got it is because it is a 4/4 flying, but then you also get to scry 2 when it enters the battlefield, which is really nice. So you have another nice defender or attacker, depending on what you're doing in the battle, and then you also get to scry for more mana if you need it. Like, for example, if you have another creature that you want to be using Monstrosity on. So next we have a Flamespeaker Adept, and I did mention these earlier, which is a 3 mana drop for a 2/3, but the good thing about them is whenever you scry, it gets +2/+0 and gains first strike. So with the Aqueous Form that I talked about earlier, this is a pretty good combo, so it gets first strike, but I mean, if it has Aqueous Form on it, it isn't going to be being blocked. Unless you decide to scry using something else, and then just wait to attack instead, and then block, so you didn't use the Aqueous Form ability, but I mean, I don't know, and then even if you don't have Aqueous Form on it, and then you use scry on something, then, I mean, it's a decent enough card. So next we have a Burnished Heart here, which is my other artifact that I was talking about, but it is an artifact creature, so I put it in this section. And so it is a 3 mana drop for a 2/2, but the good thing about it is that you pay 3 to sacrifice it, and then you get to search for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. So the good thing about that is what you could do is you could block, but before combat damage is assigned, you can pay 3 to sacrifice it. So that's, I mean, you have to be aware that you need 3 mana for that, and you need to, like, hold it, but hey, good enough. So next we have a Prognostic Sphinx here, and he is a 5 mana drop for a 3/5, so I mean, not too great for attacking, but it could be used to block. But the real reason to have it is that it is a flying, and then you get to discard a card and make it hexproof, and then tap it. So I mean, if someone's going to try to exile it or something, you can discard a card and make it hexproof, and you get to keep it. But the real reason I got it is because whenever it attacks, you get to scry 3. I mean, if you're attacking multiple turns in a row, it's not going to be really too helpful because you're just scrying 2 out of 3 same cards that you've seen. But I mean, if you see something that you really like, you can rearrange the cards, so it's not that bad, and it's it makes it so you want to attack, but I mean, you don't have to attack every turn again because it is only a 3/5. But it's a pretty good card. So then the star of the show here for our monstrosity cards is our Shipbreaker Kraken, and it's looking a little funky on the camera because of the foil, but hopefully you can see it enough. It is a 6 mana drop for a 6/6, which is not bad, but it is an 8 monstrosity for 4, so it becomes a 10/10, so I mean, it's kind of worth it. You kind of want to go for it, but whenever it becomes monstrous, I get to tap up to 4 target creatures, and they don't untap during their controller's untap step for as long as you control Shipbreaker Kraken, which is really nice because a lot of the time you don't have too many more than 4 creatures on the battlefield. So basically, once you monstrous this guy, you can basically waltz right in and just start attacking stuff. And you're going to choose the 4 strongest creatures you can. So, I mean, a lot of the time, even if they do have more than 4, it's going to be like a 1/1 guy that they've been using to tap for mana or something. And basically, you can kill that in like 4 seconds. Especially with your 10/10 Shipbreaker Kraken. But, I forgot to show you. with my Curse of the Swine, I did decide I'd get some boar tokens for absolutely no reason, just because they're cool looking. I got 4 of them. They were like 25 cents each. I know, kind of useless, but hey, they're kind of cool, and I thought it'd be nice to have tokens to actually use with my Curse of the Swine. So that's it. That's all I've really got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I gave you some ideas for a deck of your own. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video that you can see the end or the description for a list of cards. So if you're still watching by now you know. So again, if you're still watching, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you come again next time.